Rebrand, reset, shock them all. I have been seeing a lot of this on the internet at the minute, especially on social media. Um, I would like to offer an alternative. I would like to offer an opportunity to, how about rebirth, restore, and forget them all? Uh, I believe at this time of year, there's a huge expectation to start the year amazingly, reaching all of your goals, completely improving your routine, and becoming the most healthy, most beautiful, most successful version of yourself. And this idea and notion is not new. It hasn't just arrived this year. It's been around for a long time, hence New Year's resolutions, etc., etc. The problem that I see, especially the social media that I see at the minute, it is mainly 18 to 24-year olds that are creating it. It is quite militant in its message of within 90 days, you can be a completely different person. I have heard a lot about embodying completely different people. Like, in order to rebrand, you must kill your old self, and messages to that extreme. And that concerns me, mainly because the 18 to 24-year-old age bracket is one of the most vulnerable cohorts in society, not recognized as such. However, research within social care shows this. It's a time of a lot of change within the school systems, education, maybe entering the workplace, and our social circles change, our peer groups change, our friendship circles change, and the expectation to, for want of a better term, adult is high. And there, the independence and the release from family is happening. So there is a real vulnerability within this age group that we may all have experienced. And I do believe there's a vulnerability around this time for all of us, regardless of our age. However, the messaging that I see is created by and targeted to the 18 to 24-year-old bracket. However, none of us are immune to this messaging if we engage with social media. So, the alternative that I would like to offer today is to rebirth, restore, and ignore the others. Uh, the shocking of others is one, doesn't happen very often. Two, other people are so much more self involved than you realize, than any of us realize. They're too busy thinking about themselves to consider your rebrand or reset or how you're shocking them. Um, I think worst of all, they may not even notice. They may not have noticed your old brand. They're probably not going to notice your new brand. And I am not saying these things to be flippant. It is to really highlight the expectation of outside validation for our own self esteem and self worth. If somebody doesn't notice your rebrand, does it then make it redundant? I'm not sure. Also, the other thing that I really want to tackle is the time of year. And there's a reason why people stop making New Year's resolutions after a certain age. It really does just result in a feeling of failure, despondency, depression. And I don't think that's due to personal lack of motivation or desire or capability or capacity. There is a lot of scientific evidence to suggest that this time of the year we are so affected by our environments in general, in whatever environments we're in, but most especially our natural environment, Mother Nature. And this time of year, it's a time to be inside, to be inactive, to comfort and nourish ourselves. It is dark at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is freezing. So, this desire to be out and exercise or go to the gym or be my most beautiful self um, when I'm not actually going out. We are in the hangover stage of Christmas and New Year, which is really a time to restore ourselves, not to force ourselves to be our most productive. I don't believe it's natural to our essence. If it was, it would happen all of the time. So there's a reason that the third Monday in January is called Blue Monday, and it's known as the most depressing time of the year. So this was a phrase that was coined by psychologist Dr. Cliff Arnall, and he says the reason that it's the most depressing day of the year is because of the weather. It's because we're in debt. Our monthly salary is not in yet, and it's a time since Christmas. January is a long, long, long month. And also, it's the failure of the attempts to give something up. There's a low motivational level and a low need to take action. So, a huge aspect, and this is the science behind Blue Monday. So, why are we setting ourselves up for failure in the first 3 weeks of January? I urge you not to. And it's not to demotivate people, it's just an alternative message of it's okay. It's okay to just be. And I've been bombarded with the messaging, and I just felt compelled to address it. So, yes, I think we should have comfort. I think there's an emotional and mental toil of the holidays, of Christmas parties, families, friend gatherings, um, the excess of eating, drinking, socializing, and just being on for the month of December has been really difficult. So I was lucky enough to have the foresight to take a holiday after the holidays. I am currently working in a job with a 4-day week, and it just so happened that the way the holidays fell, Saturday was the only day that I was working, and I decided to take it off, and it was the best thing I've ever done. So strangely, I have had actually a rebrand and a glow up since I cut my hair. Not knowing that all of this information was out there. I was just in contemplative mode. And a friend of mine, a very good friend who is a marketing manager and who also does writing and content creation on the side, shout out to Dara, had said to me that there was a huge rebrand was the latest social media tag. And when I looked it up, I was like, it's like extreme resolution setting. And it was more the age range that it did concern me. So I urge you guys, instead of rebranding, to try rebirthing instead. And what I mean by this is, imagine that you are that vulnerable baby at this time, because it is a vulnerable time for a lot of people. Christmas and New Year can be very triggering in terms of the focus on family, on having a loved one. It's a time where if you've experienced grief or loss during that year, it's very prevalent in your experience. So, in the aftermath of all of that, the last thing I want you guys to be thinking about is reinventing yourself. Um, Please. So, to act as a caring, nurturing parent to the tender, vulnerable, lovable baby you once were and still are in there. So, a nurturing parent is not going to force you to be your best, to be worthy of care and attention. They are not going to force you to be outside in awful weather. They're not going to take you out while it's snowing. Who does that? They are going to take care of your basic needs and love and comfort you. And for me, basic needs, a huge part of that is eating. And at this time of the year, I will give myself comfort food. I will try to be healthier, but I will give myself comfort food. Also, a nurturing parent does not need you to look perfect in order for you to deserve their adoring eyes on you. So the glow up culture, please, can we drop it? Yes, I could have fringe. However, that was because I was inspired by something else, and I'm really glad I did it. However, it's not like I said. I took holidays. I had 6 days of slug existence before the haircut. So, also, parents, they are not going to force you to walk before you are able. It is not going to be a 90-day process where you have to shock others at the end of it. Any learning development work is always incremental, imperceptible by others and by ourselves a lot of the time. It is an incremental journey. So, for me, that level of nurturing, self care, self acceptance, that will cause an element of comfort and care and its own glow up, which may not be dramatic or shocking or catch the attention of, you know, maybe those 3 people that you think are watching. I'm not sure. So instead of resetting, I urge you to restore. And this is to restore your balance. Restore your balance in how you spend your time, in your sleeping patterns, in your eating patterns. Yes, exercise and move and do what you need to, but don't feel the need to be outside in awful weather. But you can restore your balance. I implore you to restore your sanity. If Christmas was overwhelming, if it brought up, you know, emotions that you need to deal with, I would like you to be gentle with yourself and to practice self care, self compassion, and self soothing techniques. So, what are these? I hear you ask. So, self compassion at its core is self kindness. Tea time. It's my self care for my throat. So, self kindness is being loving towards ourselves instead of self critical. And again, this time of the year, if we're setting targets and goals and failing at them, it is very easy to be self critical. And it really doesn't help. It's not a motivator. It has been proven to not be a motivator. So, my advice would be to start off the year being kind and turning down the self critical and veering away from anything that could amplify that voice, i.e., setting goals and intentions. Also, the next element of self compassion is a common humanity. So, everybody suffers, none of us are perfect, and we are not alone in our experiences. And I think that's a big reason why I wanted to share this today, because I didn't want people to think everywhere in the world, people are having glow ups and rebranding. Even the term, anything, pardon me, it's like human resources is a term that just, I really do not like it. And the reason being is because it treats human beings a human resource. A resource is a thing that you use. A resource is a thing that you sell. It's not a human being. We are not resources. So rebranding and that business type language applied to our human experience really, uh, it affects me. It affects me deeply. It's such jargon language to use for something so nuanced and precious and beautiful as a human life experience. I digress. The last point of self compassion is mindfulness. And there's a lot about mindfulness and how it helps everything. And if you can master it and practice it, nothing will ever bother you again. Not true. However, what I love about mindfulness, and all I think it is really, is coming home to ourselves, for one, and number two, being completely present in the moment, whatever that moment is. If it's a dark moment and you need to cry and you need to release and you need to rage, do it. If it's a joyful moment, that you are fully present in it. If it is a mundane moment, well, you use that time to do the mundane tasks, like your dishes, like your washing. It's the biggest thing is that we notice our struggle, we feel it instead of being reactive. I sit with it. And in it, the most important thing of self compassion is that we avoid self judgment or overreaction, which is not, it's easier said than done if we are feeling strongly. And that is the point of mindfulness. It is to self regulate, it is to become aware of our emotions and deal with them in a healthier, compassionate way. So, the last little bit that I'm going to say for today, and I'm going to let you all go, and I hope that this has helped in some small way and that you guys have gotten something from it. It's the most important thing is compassionate self talk. Again, it comes back to our criticism, our self judgment. So, self compassion focuses on removing negative self talk and self judgments and learning forgiveness and self acceptance. And it has been shown to increase energy, resilience, and contentment, which is what we are looking for in our rebrand, our reset, and our shocking others. Actually, at the core of that, for all of us, is seeking that contentment and acceptance. So, the best way to practice compassionate self talk is to imagine how you would talk to a best friend or a young child. And I know that we have touched on this before in other videos, but it's because I think it's so important. Another aspect is how to self soothe, to breathe consciously, try a guided meditation app, wrap yourself in layers of blankets. I would encourage you to move your body, dance, and do a few deep breaths. Um, like I did before with 7, 4, and 8, was to inhale for 7, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that for today. I really hope some of this has helped you guys, and I encourage you to rebirth, restore, and ignore everyone else. Take care. A very happy new year to you. My name is Dee Baker. You can find more about my work on elementsofempowerment.com. Thank you so much. Bye.